Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Well, friends, an absolute bombshell just dropped. We've got leaked text messages here that may have just rocked Virginia politics to the core. Current Democratic Attorney General candidate Jay Jones has been caught sending some pretty interesting text messages. I think there's only one way to properly describe this. This is a massive October surprise. The messages in question read like something from a psychopath and less of an aspiring public servant. I'd love to say that I'm surprised, but seems pretty much par for the course when it comes from what you'd expect from younger left-wing Democrat candidates. I mean, after today, this guy's career should be absolutely over in the damn toilet. Another violent lunatic leftist. Let me show you guys exactly what's going on. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. Alright folks, so let's just put up all the text messages here up on screen. This was back in 2022. These are texts sent to Delegate Kerry Coyner. I'm not going to read the entire conversation. You guys can pause the screen if you want to and read them yourself. But basically, Jay Jones here is literally fantasizing about murdering Republican House Speaker Todd Gilbert. He writes that if he had 2 bullets, he'd use both on him. He jokes about pissing on political opponents' graves, and even said that maybe if Gilbert's kids died, that he'd finally, quote, change his politics. Let that sink in, folks. And keep in mind, these are deliberate, written words by a man that's now seeking to control the justice system in Virginia. Completely disgraceful and violent. But if you think the disgrace ends there, of course it doesn't. In typical Democrat nature, the response arguably might be even worse. Instead of mass moral outrage and a call for this clown to drop out of the race, instead what we get is Governor Hopeful Abigail Spanberger hitting us with some prepackaged statement. I'll post it up here on screen, take a look. Congresswoman Abigail Spanberger today released the following statement. After learning of these comments earlier today, I spoke frankly with Jay about my disgust with what he had said and texted. I made clear to Jay that he must fully take responsibility for his words. What I have also made clear is that as a candidate and as the next governor of the Commonwealth, I will always condemn violent language in our politics. Cool. So here we have her fellow Democrat basically running on the same ticket, fantasizing about shooting Republicans in the head and hoping that their children die, not to mention pissing on people's graves, and she just releases a statement claiming she gave him a call saying, hey, that's not okay. As per usual, the political side that pretends to be the side of virtue, they once again show they are incapable of doing the right thing if doing the right thing might impede their political agenda. That's the modern Democrat Party, zero accountability. It's all about optics. Just imagine if a Republican had sent those text messages. Every major outlet in America would have gone DEFCON 1. It'd be non-stop panels of outrage. We'd see protests, social media meltdown, coordinated calls across the board, demanding that person resign before sunrise. But when it's their own, the media basically goes silent, and instead they work to protect the brand, hoping that it's just gonna go away. And you wonder why the left has such a problem with political violence and disgraceful rhetoric. This is what happens when a political movement normalizes hatred. The left has spent years dehumanizing conservatives. They've created this culture where hate is normalized, to hate the other half of the country. And now that hatred is leaking through the cracks. Elected Democrats just casually fantasizing about murder. And at the same time, young activists on the streets and on social media, they're doing the same thing. These people don't just disagree with us, they despise us. They want us gone. They want us dead, silenced, erased, punished. It's not hyperbole anymore. It's written in their own messages. And yet these people claim that they're the party of decency. Yeah, when the party of decency is joking about killing political opponents, it's a full mask-off moment. I don't know, I just hope this causes a political earthquake. My hope is that this won't only take down Jay Jones, but it'll take down Abigail Spanberger with him, especially after that disgraceful, pathetic, disingenuous response. Man, I hope it all backfires. I hope we're headed towards some massive upset victories here. And politically, that could very well be the case here. The Virginia race is already pretty tight, but now after everything that's happened all year, then post Charlie Kirk and now this, my hope is the Democrat brand is becoming radioactive, that they've showed themselves, they've exposed themselves to the people. I'm hoping people are paying attention and these races flip. And that might be happening here. I'm seeing a lot of reports that Democrats are panicking behind the scenes as these races, specifically Virginia and New Jersey, are real close and they're getting closer and closer as we get closer to Election Day. We might be looking at a massive momentum shift that completely flips these elections on their head. And actually, speaking of New Jersey, Quantus Insights gives us some pretty interesting analysis on the New Jersey election as it currently stands. According to them, as we're getting closer to election here, GOP mail-in ballot returns are starting to surge. We've got 138,000 ballots in so far, and the Republican mail rate is climbing to 18.6% versus Democrats' 16.6%. This is being described as the most red start since 2021, up 6 points, with the Democrat firewall shrinking down to D plus 38, down from D plus 42 as the baseline. And they also mention how the polls missed in 2024 by 9 points towards Kamala Harris. You'll often see margin of error 3 to 4% with these pollsters, but they were off by 9. The margin of error could be much worse than expected. And now let's add in a major scandal in Virginia involving a Democrat literally calling to kill Republicans, not to mention the Tesla fire bombings, all the riots across the streets, the now ambush on ICE agents, potential Democrat miscalculation regarding this government shutdown right now. In my view, the scandals keep multiplying. The polls are clearly tightening as we get closer, and Democrats aren't building the firewall that they need. I don't know. The Democrat Party's supposed moral authority, or whatever's left of it, I think it's collapsing in real time, and that could have a serious impact on these two elections. And if we do end up seeing an upset, well, then you pretty much know that 2026 is going to be a disaster for Democrats, and that'll likely snowball into a massive loss in 2028. And if that happens, well, I think it's proof of our analysis. From top to bottom, this party is rotting. They're vile, they're violent, they're corrupt, the constant double standards. They're power hungry and they're willing to weaponize power. Not to mention, on top of it, they're incompetent when it comes to running any form of government, whether state or federal. I think it's all starting to bleed through. These people preach tolerance, while obviously they celebrate hate. They talk about decency while defending degeneracy. They talk about good, common sense government while enacting the most insane, indefensible policies. And they wonder why voters are walking away. Well, this latest scandal, folks, it's not just one unhinged candidate. It shouldn't play in isolation. It shows the culture at large. This is a party that has built its identity on rage, revenge, vengeance, retribution, hate, and violence. I think they've made it very clear that they hate their political opponents more than they love the country. And that's why we've seen over 2 million people register Republican. That's why we've seen Democrats bleed in all the most important states. That's also probably why we're seeing these polls continue to tighten. Right now is supposed to be the Democrats' time to form a massive blue wave. Donald Trump's in office. They get to set the narrative. They have the media doing their bidding. Every week's a new psyop. Donald Trump's destroying America. From Doge, the tariffs, the Epstein files, what's going on with ICE, yada yada, the list goes on. They're supposed to be galvanizing their base, setting a counter message to the current administration. And usually that works in these moments. But instead we're seeing the opposite. We're seeing continued Democrat collapse. Their numbers are in the gutter, voter registration's in the gutter, and the polls are getting closer and closer and closer. They just keep falling further and further, and they keep getting caught in these horrible, career-ending scandals. In other words, they keep proving to the people exactly who they are, and hopefully, just hopefully, a brutal political reckoning is right around the corner. I can't think of anything more deserved. But anyways, that's what I got for you guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.